Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Deep Rock Galactic. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Zero. Let's get to it. So today we're doing the deep dive, codenamed Lucky Dusk. But before we get to that, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. So let's get into it. Stage 1 of the deep dive has a black box, volatile guts, and morkite. So depending on what special brew is available, it can help you out quite a bit. So the black box is a zone control, which you need to stay within the bubble in order to make progress. The more people that are within the bubble, the faster the progress goes. The fewer people, the slower it goes. And if nobody's in there, you start losing progress rapidly. So if you have a driller, you can actually drill underneath it. So then all of the enemies have to come at you from one direction, which will make it a little bit easier. Now, Volatile Guts works both directions. It's a double-edged sword. It works in your favor, but it could also work against you. So what happens is when you defeat an enemy, they will explode instead of just falling over, damaging everything in an area. If you're too close, then you're going to get damaged as well. But if there are enemies around the enemy that you took out, then all those enemies are going to get damaged as well. And then they'll blow up, and it could chain reaction if there's a bunch of grunts together. Now keep your eyes out open for both gold and nitro as long as you're doing the deep dive, as well as crystallized morkite as you're going to be doing in this particular level. Crystallized morkite, you're just going to look for that gray-blue glow on the side of the level that you can see even when there's no lights around. It has a faint shimmer to it, so you can kind of see it even if you're not close to it and if there's no light. Obviously, easier to see if there is. And then just dig it out like you would any other mineral. A lot of times in these expedition, mining expedition missions that you do, you will see a lot of the morkite at the end of the tunnel, wherever the tunnel ends up at. And you can get most, if not all, of the morkite there. Sometimes not enough in order to get everything. But once you get all the morkite and the black box taken care of, you can call in the drop pod and make your way forward. There we go. There is no point in getting more than 200 because it doesn't count towards anything and it doesn't continue forward in any other stage of the deep dive. Now, once you call in the drop pod, you can follow the mule back, or you can make your own way back depending on how confident you are in traversing the cave that you just came through in order to get back to where you need to go in order to get to the drop pod. Once again, if you have a driller, it can make it a little bit easier, as you can make a basically straight line path from wherever you call in the drop pod to wherever the drop pod is. Sometimes the drop pod is really close. You can get back to it in, 30 seconds. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And depending on whether you take the path behind the mule or make your own path. Now, this particular time, it took a really long time to get to it. It was quite the venture back into the cave, so it actually made a lot of sense for us to make our own way back. Although that has its disadvantages too, because you'll need to defend the area until the mule docks with the drop pod. So this is a good time to point out that The Deep Dive is a 3-stage raid-like environment where you can play with your buddy Bosco or with up to 3 other players, either pre-made or match-made. Here we go. This is us waiting quite the amount of time until the mule docked with the drop pod every so often, looking to see how far the mule's away from everything. And then, of course, an oppressor shows up to try to ruin our picnic. Luckily, there was a tight space that we could fit into until the mule parked, and there we go. So that's it for stage number 1. Moving on to stage number 2.
The mule is secured. Initiating launch sequence. Deep Rock Galactic thanks you for your good work. Drop pod will leave with or without you.
Alright, stage 2 of the deep dive. This time around we have liquid morkite and a black box and elite enemies. So elite threat means that there are special enemies that are mini bosses. They move faster, they have more hit points, and they do more damage. So make sure that you point them out and take them out as quickly as possible, and that'll just help you out, help you and your team out, prevent anyone from going down, taking unnecessary damage. So once again, another zone control. Apparently this is the week for the black box. So get that black box up and running, get that uplink going, so then you can move on with the rest of the mission. Just like before, you want to stay within that green bubble. And the more people that are in it, the faster you progress through it. Once you get up to 100%, continue on. Now, if you want, you can have 1 person or 2 people within the bubble while you have 2 people completing the liquid morkite objective. It's really up to you what you want to do. You have to look for the 3 liquid morkite geysers, which you'll see both the cloud and blue flame, and then call on the pump jack, build out the framework, and then build the pipe out. All the while, you're going to have to keep your eyes open for those elite threats, and you're going to have swarm at least once, if not twice, during the mission. The longer you go, the more swarms you're going to have. So it's always best to kind of run through a mission, not necessarily as fast as you can, but quickly, but also efficiently, so that you can pick up any minerals. Now, in general, there are no region-specific minerals in the deep dive, although if you do happen to cross a hoarder in the deep dive, the hoarder will have regional minerals that you can grab. But otherwise, it is only gold and nitra in which you can grab during the deep dive. And of course, gold will get you more credits at the end of the deep dive. Nitra will keep you flush with ammo and health during the deep dive. So both very important. Now, at some point while you're refining the liquid morkite, you're going to have leaks along the pipe. You're going to have to find where the leaks are at and repair them. Once you get them repaired, until you get all the leaks repaired, you're going to have no progress. Once you have them repaired, then you'll continue on and start progressing, and you'll see that percentage go up. Once you get 100%, you can call in the drop pod and make your way onward. You have to call or send the rig into orbit first, so that cargo rocket has to make it back. So there is still, a 30-second to 60-second wait time between when you send up the cargo rocket to when that drop pod will show up. So you can defend the area, you can start moving towards a more remote section of the cave where you think it might show up, and then of course, once you know where it's at, make your way over to it. Now this is a good time to point out that everything carries over from one stage of the deep dive to the next. That includes your gold, your nitro, your health and ammo, grenades, including what's in your pockets. So if things are getting a little too hectic outside of the drop pod before you get out, it'll carry over to the next one. Just make sure that you drop it in before you leave the deep dive on the third stage, just so you can get credit. So that's it for stage number 2. Moving on to stage number 3. Alright, the third and final stage of the deep dive. This time around we have Exploder Infestation, Dreadnoughts, and you guessed it, a black box. So Dreadnoughts are the boss-like creatures of Deep Rock Galactic. This time around we got the Hive Guard, which has an immune phase, a shielded phase, and a damage phase. When it goes immune, it calls in the Sentinels. It's the Praetorian-like creatures that'll come and try to melee you, and they do quite a bit of damage. And then even after you take care of them, they leave a puddle of goo, which is going to slow you down, which makes it easier for that Hive Guard to hit you, either with a melee or with fireballs. So make sure that you're staying away both from the Hive Guard and the minions, the Sentinels. And then once the shield comes down, do as much damage as quickly as possible to spare your ammo. And then just rinse and repeat. Alright, so the second set of Dreadnoughts are the twins this time around. And we got the Lacerator and the Arbalest, so they do not have a shielded phase, but they do burrow through the level. So they disappear, so it's always good to tag them so that you can kind of keep an eye on where they're popping out during the level. If you damage one too much more than the other, then it will get healed from the other. So if you damage the Lacerator too much, the Arbalest will share some health with it, and vice versa. So in order to maximize your damage, you're going to want to damage each one more or less equally. Keep them tagged. Do damage to one, do damage to the other, or you have a couple people on each one. Sometimes there will be a time when you have one of them that'll disappear. They'll burrow for a while, they'll be immune, and then you've got people doing too much damage to one of them, and then all of a sudden you've got a little bit of trouble. But once you have all of the Dreadnoughts taken care of and you have the black box knocked out, then you're ready to go. Go ahead and call in the drop pod and make your way out. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.
Drop pod has arrived. Retrieving the mule. Drop pod departing in T-minus 5 minutes.
Pod pays for the first round. Ammo taken.
Supply drop has been ordered and is on the way. Supplies are on the way.
I made a platform.
Drop pod departing in T-minus 4 minutes.
Sticking it to the box.
The mule has docked, initiating launch sequence.
Wonder what slum the 7 can take tonight.
Extraction commencing. Good work.
Pop the big one. Rock and roll.
PlayStation